Welcome to U.S. Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: Biden says he told Zelensky he's confident U.S. will renew aid to Ukraine. Trump unveils $399 never surrender high tops after $355 million ruling. Capitals scratch and claw for a 4-3 victory in Montreal. Ross Gelbspan, author who probed roots of climate change denial, dies at 84. Representative Rashida Tlaib urges Michigan Democrats to vote against Biden in the primary. Biden says he told Zelensky he's confident U.S. will renew aid to Ukraine. Al Jazeera. U.S. President Joe Biden has assured Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky that Congress will renew military aid to Ukraine following Russia's capture of the Ukrainian stronghold of Avdiivka. Biden said it would be absurd and unethical for lawmakers not to approve a new package of military aid. Biden's comments came after a call with Zelensky, during which the Ukrainian leader described the withdrawal of Kiev's forces from Avdiivka as a professional decision that will save many Ukrainian lives. Russia's capture of Avdiivka has been hailed by Russian President Vladimir Putin as an important victory. Trump unveils $399 never surrender high tops after $355 million ruling. South China Morning Post. Former President Donald Trump made an appearance at a sneaker convention in Philadelphia on Saturday, where he introduced his new line of Trump-branded trainers. The gold lame high tops, called Never Surrender high tops, are being sold for $399 on a website that also sells Trump-branded cologne and perfume. Trump's appearance was met with boos and cheers from the crowd, which consisted of both his detractors and supporters. Some attendees said they were unaware Trump would be there and continued to shop as a crowd gathered around the stage. The audience skewed younger and more diverse than Trump's usual rally crowds, and his campaign is hoping to win over more young and minority voters in a likely rematch against President Joe Biden in November. This is not the first money-making venture Trump has announced since launching his third campaign for the White House in 2022. Last year, he reported making between $100,000 and $1 million for a series of digital trading cards. Trump's legal debts are estimated to be over $500 million, and it is unclear if he can afford to pay them. Capitals scratch and claw for a 4-3 victory in Montreal. Washington Post. Goals from Anthony Mantha, TJ Oshie and Aliaxii Protas helped the Washington Capitals to a 4-3 win over the Montreal Canadiens. The win keeps the Capitals in the playoff race, as they needed the 2 points to stay in contention. Ross Gelbspan, author who probed roots of climate change denial, dies at 84. Washington Post. Ross Gelbspan, a journalist and author who followed the money trail of climate change denial, exposing how the energy industry and lobbyists pushed narratives to counter overwhelming evidence that use of fossil fuels was driving global warming, died January 27 at his home in Boston. He was 84. Representative Rashida Tlaib urges Michigan Democrats to vote against Biden in the primary. Yahoo! Representative Rashida Tlaib, Democrat Michigan, is urging Democrats in Dearborn, Michigan, to vote against President Joe Biden in the state's upcoming Democratic primary. Extremely bleak, is Korean diplomacy's untimely death a harbinger of war? South China Morning Post. North and South Korea's lack of diplomacy is heightening the risk of direct conflict, as tensions escalate over weapons tests, military drills, and mutual threats of destruction. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's hardline stance is feeding into North Korea's aggression, which is being used by leader Kim Jong-un to justify his own iron-fisted rule and building up of a nuclear arsenal. Attempts to force Pyongyang to abandon its nuclear weapons program through further sanctions are seen as wishful thinking, as the regime fears that complying would mean its own downfall. The North's provocations are only likely to intensify this year amid joint military drills, parliamentary polls, and the U.S. presidential election. The Kim regime may try to portray President Yoon and President Biden's policies as failures ahead of the elections by firing cruise missiles. The two sides are stuck in a deadlock with no real possibility of cooperation, and the prospects for reducing tensions seem extremely bleak. Concerns are growing that a second Donald Trump presidency would weaken the U.S. commitment to defending South Korea, leading to calls for South Korea to arm itself with nuclear weapons. Powerball winning numbers for Saturday, February 17. Check your tickets for $306 million jackpot. Yahoo! The Powerball lottery jackpot was an estimated $306 million for the drawing on Saturday, February 17, 2024, with a cash option of $144.5 million, according to the game's website. The winning numbers were 6, 28, 59, 62, 69 and the Powerball number was 21, with a power play of 3x. The jackpot was last won on January 1, 2024, when a player in Michigan won $842.4 million. The Mega Millions lottery jackpot stood at $493 million with a cash option of $231.1 million, according to the Mega Millions website. Powerball drawings are held 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 10:59 p.m. Eastern Time. China stocks set to rally as PBOC holds Sunday Asia briefing. Bloomberg. China's markets are set to resume trading after the Lunar New Year holiday. The People's Bank of China has held off on lowering its one-year rate, providing support to the yuan. Chinese stocks are expected to perform well, driven by increased spending during the holiday and gains in Hong Kong-listed China shares. Investors will be watching manufacturing activity in Asia and Europe to gauge whether a recovery in factory output is underway. HSBC and Standard Chartered may address the risks associated with their China property operations, while Singapore Airlines results are expected to highlight the post-COVID travel boom. China's new C919 passenger jet could make its first overseas appearance at the Singapore Air Show. Former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been released from detention. Concerns about credit risk are being raised in the U.S. commercial real estate and Chinese property markets. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6-degree world, here to bring you the latest news in a witty and entertaining manner. Let's dive right in. First up, President Biden has assured Ukrainian President Zelensky that military aid to Ukraine will be renewed. Biden called it absurd and unethical for Congress not to approve the aid, especially in light of Russia's capture of the Ukrainian stronghold of Avdiivka. It's good to see the U.S. standing by its allies and supporting them in their time of need. In some lighter news, former President Trump has unveiled his new line of Trump-branded sneakers, called Never Surrender High Tops. Priced at $399, these flashy gold lame shoes are sure to catch some attention. It seems like Trump is trying to make some extra cash to pay off his legal debts, which are estimated to be over $500 million. I wonder if the sneakers come with a money-back guarantee? Moving on to sports, the Washington Capitals fought hard for a 4-3 victory against the Montreal Canadiens. Goals from Mantha, Oshie, and Protas secured the win and kept the Capitals in the playoff race. It's always exciting to see teams battling it out on the ice, and this victory will surely boost the Capitals' morale. In sad news, journalist and author Ross Gelbspan, known for his work on climate change denial, has passed away at the age of 84. Gelbspan was instrumental in exposing the money trail behind climate change denial and highlighting the efforts of the energy industry to counteract the evidence of global warming. His work will be remembered and appreciated in the fight against climate change. In a surprising turn of events, Representative Rashida Tlaib is urging Democrats in Michigan to vote against President Biden in the upcoming Democratic primary. Tlaib's move shows that there are divisions within the Democratic Party, and it will be interesting to see how this plays out in the primary and the general election. Politics can be full of surprises. On the international front, tensions between North and South Korea are escalating, increasing the risk of direct conflict. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol's hardline stance is fueling North Korea's aggression, which is being used by Kim Jong-un to solidify his rule and build up a nuclear arsenal. The prospects for reducing tensions seem bleak, and there are growing concerns about a weakened U.S. commitment to defending South Korea under a second Trump presidency. It's a delicate situation that requires careful diplomacy and strategic thinking. In a more lighthearted news, the Powerball lottery jackpot was a whopping $306 million, with the winning numbers being 6, 28, 59, 62, 69, and the Powerball number 21. I hope some lucky person out there is celebrating their big win. Lastly, China's markets are set to resume trading after the Lunar New Year holiday. The People's Bank of China has held off on lowering its one-year rate, which is expected to support the yuan. Chinese stocks are predicted to perform well, driven by increased holiday spending and gains in Hong Kong-listed China shares. It will be interesting to see how the markets react and if the recovery in factory output continues. That's all for today's news roundup. Remember, these stories provide just a snapshot of what's happening in the world. It's a complex and ever-changing landscape out there, so let's keep our eyes peeled and our minds open. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of these news stories? Any burning questions or comments? Let's discuss. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6do Brief via email.